wondered how to support your body when coming off the pill? Hello, my successful and healthy earthlings. Mihaela Rogushian, naturopath and founder of the Natural Health Podcast. Today, I'm going to share with you a few hints and tips to ensure that when you are coming off the pill the right way, some things that your doctor probably doesn't tell you. At the end of this episode, I'm also going to give you an opportunity to join a health and success-oriented community by clicking below and joining the Natural Health newsletter. Welcome to the Natural Health Podcast, where we bring awareness to sustainable health in the business hustle space. Natural Health Podcast is perfect for the high-performing, business-minded individuals who want to work with their biochemistry to achieve success and optimal health. It's Wednesday, which means it's time for What Would I Do? In today's episode of Natural Health Podcast, we discuss this week's questions. All questions are kept confidential and I read and answer them as if it was me. Hence why it's called What Would I Do? The information provided is not to be taken as advice and is solely for information purposes only. I'm not here to cure, treat, or provide medical advice. I'm here to educate and inform you so you're able to take steps towards optimal health. Please discuss any medical issues with your healthcare professional. Let's get into today's question. Today's question is such an interesting one and I love it. And I could definitely talk more than 10 minutes on this, but I'll try and squeeze it in. How can I best support my body coming off the pill? What supplements should I be on if I'm considering coming off the pill? This is an absolutely great question. And by the pill, we're talking about the contraceptive pill. So let's have a look at the pill, right? There's many different types of pills and so many different things that individuals can take for contraceptive reasons or for other reasons. So actually women start birth control for a variety of reasons, right? Pregnancy prevention, skin issues, painful periods, and the list goes on. But little do individuals know I'm all for consent, right? Consent when people are taking it on and also given the right information. But most individuals that I know of, when they have gone on the pill, little did they actually know the effects of the birth control pill on their body. There's so many effects. I'm going to name a few and I wish and I hope that individuals are actually educated about this before they decide if they want to choose it or not, okay? So let's look at hair. Some women experience hair loss on their head when starting the birth control pill, and others may find decreased growth of unwanted hair. The pill depletes nutrients the thyroid requires to produce hormones and increase thyroid binding globulin, a protein that prevents thyroid hormones from being used by the body. So thyroid issues can come about by being on the pill. Hair issues can come about by being on the pill. Breasts may become tender and enlarged after beginning birth control. Birth control may also improve cyclical breast changes. So it can improve it, but there's also some changes that can occur. The pill specifically alters the liver on a structural and genetical level. Now, this is a huge one. The pill specifically alters the liver on a structural and genetical level. There's an increased risk of both benign liver tumors and liver cancer. I mean, that is huge. Gallbladder. With a history of gallbladder stones on birth control may experience faster stone formation. So individuals may get gallbladder stones because being on the pill. Birth control can lead to elevated blood pressure. For some individuals, birth control can also cause fluctuations in weight gain, or weight loss. It's 99% effective in pregnancy prevention. Birth control can help reduce heavy periods and cramps in some women. There is so many things, and I've got this from Joel Brighton. She's an absolutely amazing doctor and she talks a lot about birth control and so forth. So if you want to jump there on her website, she's got this amazing graph about the effects of birth control, and I don't have time to go through it all at the moment, but essentially the big ones, thyroid, liver, gallbladder, gut. So it says here, birth control increases intestinal hyperpermeability, leaky gut, disruption of the microbiome, allows for overgrowth of yeast and association with an increased risk of development autoimmune diseases of the gut in people with genetic predispositions. That is huge. Okay, but another thing is also what you have to know is the pill, like any other medication, also depletes our body of nutrients. Just to name a few, and there's so many more: vitamin E, C, B vitamin, selenium, zinc, magnesium, and so forth. All right, let's go into what I would do, because your question wasn't about the effect, how a pill affects it, but I had to put that in there a little bit before we go into what I would do. Okay, the question is why did you get on a pill in the first place? What pill were you on? How long have you taken the pill for? Have you ever gotten off the pill, and what actually happened? Did you get your period back, yes or no? So some people are on a pill for 2 years and they're off for 2 years and they're on for 2 years and so forth. What was your period like before the pill? What's your diet like at the moment? Is it full of processed foods? What's your insulin level and so forth? Do you smoke? Do you drink? Do you take drugs? Are you exposed to any toxins? Have you been exposed to previously to any toxins like mold, herbicides, pesticides, living near a factory, farm, and so forth? How's your bone health? How's your gut health? Do you have food sensitivities? Do you have any allergies? Do you get bloating? What are your gut symptoms like? What is your skin like? And so forth. There are so many questions to ask, but I want to leave a bit of time for what would I do. Okay. What would I do? Okay. All right. The first number one thing that I would do is I would run a blood test to see where things are at, especially with your hormones, folate, B12, vitamin D, iron panel, thyroid panel, liver panel, kidney panel, CPR, omega-3 to 6 ratio, in particular your hormones and so forth. So many things to look into where things are at, right? In addition to that, I would check my blood pressure, check my bone health, check where things are at, right? If this is whilst you're on a pill, just as you're off coming to pill. But I think the first thing that I would do is, if I was thinking about coming off the pill, is I would choose an individual that I'm close with or that I trust, that's a professional that understands the period, and work with them. I wouldn't just come off it, because it might actually be very might be emotional. It might be like, wow, right, well, what's happening to my body? So many changes occur when we come off, and because our hormones just, go a bit haywire to balance up, right? So ensure that I have support around me. Ensure that I have either a team of health professionals around me, even maybe a counselor, psychologist around me, so then I'm able to work through what I need to work through, especially if I've been on it for a long period of time, and especially if I'm wanting to fall pregnant, right? Because some people get off the pill and they think their period's going to come back. Some people it does, some people it takes months, some people it takes years to get their period back when coming off the pill. So that's the number thing, and that's the thing I'll do, is stress reduction, ensure that my stress is in control, because if my stress is all over the place, I don't know how we will go with balancing the hormones and so forth. Okay, the other one is sleep. Make sure my sleep is on point, right? The other thing is I would make sure I fix my leaky gut, or my gut, because as I've spoken about before, the pill affects our gut. So make sure I'm eating probiotic rich foods, taking particular probiotics, fibers, taking things like L-glutamine if that's something that suits me, slippery elm, zinc, and so forth can provide additional support with that. Ensure I balance my hormones. I know it's a big one. Oh, how do you balance your hormones? Well, hopefully a professional will be able to help you with that, because it depends where your hormones are at. Are they low? Are they high? Where's your estrogen at? Where's your progesterone at? Where's your LH at? FSH at? And it's hard when if you come off and you don't have a cycle, you're like, well, I don't know when I'm supposed to test on day 2. I don't know when my day 2 is. I don't know when my day 1 is, right? I would look at adjusting my HPA due to altered stress response. So like I said, stress response absolutely key. Replenish nutrient stores. So this is where you ask, what supplements should you take? Let's look at food first, and then maybe supplements if need be. I would need to first replenish everything that's been depleted by the pill. Vitamin E, vitamin C, all your B vitamins, selenium, zinc, magnesium, CoQ10, and other antioxidants are being depleted every single day while you've taken a pill. And that sounds depressing, but it's true, right? And this is where you need foods like nuts, seeds, leafy greens, capsicums, citrus fruit, berries. If you eat eggs, meat, seafood, fish, Brazil nuts, seafoods, oysters, beans, nuts, and so forth. So as you can see, all of these is filled with magnesium, zinc, selenium, B vitamins C and E. And if need be, talk to a health professional to see if there is a supplement that has those vitamins in it. They'll be able to help you replenish them. The other key thing is the liver. The liver is a huge one that's been absolutely affected by being on the pill. The impacts on the liver is absolutely huge, right? While on the birth control, your liver takes a hit. So this is why some women experience elevated cholesterol all of a sudden, right? Elevated sex hormone binding globulin, SHBG, liver tumors, liver cancer, and blood sugar dysregulation, because they've been on the pill, so their liver has been absolutely shaken off. So the gut, absolutely key. absolutely key to look after. Replenishing those nutrients, the adrenals, absolutely, and then the liver. These four things are absolutely key. These are the starting points that we'll look into. So gut, liver, the nutrients, making sure that the nutrients are on point, and the HPA axis, absolutely key, right? Your liver depends on so many amino acids, all the B vitamins, minerals to do its job, which has been depleted whilst on the pill, right? Then you could look into inflammation, right? Is your CPR elevated after the pill? What, are you having high omega-6 compared to omega-3 fatty levels? That means we need to have more anti-inflammatory foods. So there is so many things that I would do if I was coming off the pill. Number one thing is get in touch with a healthcare professional that understands the pill, that understands the female hormone cycle, and that understands the effects of it. And it also depends what your goal is. If your goal is just coming off the pill, awesome. But if your goal is coming off the pill and falling pregnant, totally different story. But essentially, the protocol would be kind of similar, which would include one, replenishing all of your minerals, vitamin E, C, B, selenium, zinc, magnesium, CoQ10, and other antioxidants, and B12, replenishing them. Number two, looking at your gut, running tests with your gut, making sure your gut's on point, prebiotics, probiotics, and so forth, making sure that leaky gut is healed. Number three, your HPA axis, making sure that that's healed and that's on point. And then liver health is number four. There's so many other things like thyroid, hormones, and so forth, but this would be the starting point. That's the starting point to look into. First, look at foods, and then look at supplements and testings and so forth. But that's kind of like what I would do if I was coming off the pill. I hope I shed some light to your question. Anyone who's listening, you may have a similar question to this. I'm happy to go into more detail. If someone wants to give me a follow-up question for this, please contact me. I can go into detail about one specific aspect. If you say, well, why do I need CoQ10? I can go deep into that, but I just gave an overview today as to where the starting point is. And remember, the missing link between failure and success is your health. Content and information provided here is opinion of Mahela Raguse and is for information purposes only and does not constitute medical advice. It is not intended to provide medical advice or take the place of medical advice or any current treatment you're undertaking. Consult your own medical professionals for any medical issues that you may be having. This entire disclaimer also applies to any guests or contributors to the Natural Health Podcast. It is advised that you consult your doctor or healthcare professional in relation to any health concerns you may be having. Mahela Raguse does not take responsibility for any health consequences which occur from a person listening, viewing, or reading this content. And in no circumstances shall the Natural Podcast, Mahela Raguse, any guests or contributors to the Natural Podcast, or any employees, associates, or affiliates of Mahela Raguse be responsible for damages arising from the information provided on the Natural Podcast. By listening to this podcast, you agree not to use this podcast as medical advice to treat any medical conditions in either yourself or others. Please note, if you're taking prescription, do not stop your medication or start a new protocol, including but not limited to supplements, diet, lifestyle changes without consulting a doctor or healthcare professional. If you or any person has a medical concern, you should consult with your healthcare provider or seek other professional medical advice. Never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of something that you have read or heard on the Natural Podcast or in any linked materials. If you think you may have a medical emergency, call your doctor or emergency services immediately. Neither Mahela Raguse nor the publisher of this content takes responsibility for the possible health consequences of any person or persons reading or listening or following the information in educational content.